You're looking at a world where giants still walk the earth. 40,000 years ago, a single woolly mammoth weighed as much as 6 cars. A cave bear could stand taller than a grown man on its hind legs. Saber-toothed cats had teeth like daggers. And yet small groups of humans armed with little more than wood and stone regularly hunted these animals. How was that even possible? Most people assume our ancestors simply got lucky or were much stronger than us. But the real story is far more interesting. Ancient humans didn't overpower these beasts with brute force. They solved the problem using something much more powerful: strategy, teamwork, and tools that evolved over time. In this video, we're not just going to list weapons. We're going to explore the actual techniques ancient humans developed to hunt some of the most dangerous animals that ever lived, and why these methods were far more sophisticated than most people realize. Imagine facing an animal that outweighed you by 10 times or more. That was daily reality for Paleolithic hunters. Woolly mammoths weren't just big, they were intelligent, social, and extremely protective of their young. A wounded mammoth could easily kill several hunters. Cave bears were not only massive but also incredibly strong, with thick skulls that could deflect spear points. Saber-toothed cats relied on ambush and could deliver devastating wounds in seconds. These animals weren't just food, they were walking fortresses, yet humans kept hunting them for thousands of years. The reason is simple: one successful hunt could feed an entire group for weeks. The meat, fat, bones, and hide provided everything a community needed to survive the harsh Ice Age environment. But survival came at a price. Every hunt carried the risk of death. This constant danger forced our ancestors to become extremely clever problem solvers. The earliest effective weapon against large animals was the thrusting spear. These weren't crude sticks. Many were made from strong, straight wood like yew or ash with fire-hardened tips. Later versions had sharp stone points attached using resin and sinew. The key was getting close, very close. Hunters would approach in a tight formation, often using the landscape for cover. When the moment was right, several people would thrust their spears into the animal's vital areas at the same time. The goal wasn't to kill it instantly. It was to weaken it through blood loss and internal damage. This technique required incredible courage and coordination. One wrong move and the animal could turn and trample or gore the hunters. Yet this method worked for hundreds of thousands of years across different continents. The thrusting spear was simple, but it demanded something far more important than technology. It demanded trust between hunters. Around 20,000 years ago, something changed. Hunters began using a simple but brilliant tool called the Atlatl, a spear thrower. This wooden device acted like an extension of the arm, allowing hunters to throw spears much farther and with much greater force. Think of it like this: throwing a spear by hand is like throwing a rock. Using an atlatl is like using a slingshot. The extra leverage dramatically increased both speed and penetrating power. With the atlatl, hunters could now attack from a safer distance. They could also throw multiple darts in quick succession. Archaeological evidence shows that some groups became extremely skilled with this weapon. The famous Clovis points found across North America were likely used with atlatls to hunt mammoths and mastodons. The atlatl didn't just make hunting easier. It changed the entire relationship between humans and megafauna. For the first time, hunters could seriously wound large animals without getting dangerously close. One of the most effective techniques ancient humans developed was the communal drive. Instead of attacking an animal head-on, hunters would work together to control its movement. They would use fire, loud noises, and coordinated movements to drive herds toward natural traps, steep cliffs, narrow gorges, or soft ground where the animals would get stuck. Once the animals were trapped or forced into a vulnerable position, the hunters could attack with much less risk. This method was especially useful against herd animals like mammoths and bison. The drive technique shows something important about ancient hunting. Success didn't always come from better weapons. Sometimes it came from better understanding of animal behavior and the landscape. Hunters knew exactly where to position themselves and how to use the environment as a weapon. Another powerful technique was the precision ambush. Rather than chasing animals across open ground, hunters would wait in carefully chosen locations. They would study migration routes and watering holes, then position themselves for a surprise attack. When the moment came, the group would strike together, often targeting the same vital area. The goal was to cause rapid blood loss so the animal would weaken quickly. Some groups even used poison on their spear tips, though this was more common in certain regions. This method required deep knowledge. Hunters needed to understand not just where animals went, but when they were most vulnerable, when they were tired, injured, or separated from the group. What truly separated successful hunters from those who failed wasn't better spears or stronger muscles. It was knowledge and cooperation. Ancient hunters spent their lives learning animal behavior. They knew which animals were most dangerous when wounded. They understood seasonal movements. They recognized signs of weakness or illness. This knowledge was shared within the group. When one hunter discovered something useful, it benefited everyone. Over generations, this collective intelligence became incredibly sophisticated. Teamwork was equally important. Hunting dangerous animals required people to trust each other completely. Everyone had a role, and everyone's survival depended on the others doing their part correctly. Ancient humans didn't hunt giants because they were stronger than us. They succeeded because they were smarter about working together and using their environment. They turned simple materials, wood, stone, and fire into effective weapons. They developed strategies that reduced risk and increased their chances of success. Most importantly, they understood that no single person could survive alone against such powerful animals. The real lesson is that our ancestors were superhuman. It's that human ingenuity, cooperation, and the ability to adapt tools and strategies allowed ordinary people to overcome extraordinary challenges. They didn't just survive in a world of giants. They thrived in it, using nothing more than intelligence, teamwork, and determination.